Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast, and iHeartRadio Best Kids and Family Podcast Award nominee. We are so honored that you're part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Oscar Redden IV, and he's here to celebrate Albert the Albatross. Attitude equals altitude. Before we invite Oscar into the studio to celebrate some great old school values, we want to invite you to a really fun way to end the year 2020. Reading in the New Year. It is our virtual family fair that is happening Christmas Day all the way through New Year's Day. And it's happening at readinginthenewyear.com. We are so really excited. Response to this event has been overwhelming. There have been so many authors who want to be a part of this, who want to share their books, who want to read aloud their books to you. And we are just so honored by that. But for example, one of the folks that are going to be joining us is Sherry Howard. She will be sharing Rock and Roll Woods. That's a really fun book, and you're going to love it. You're going to love everything that's happening. We're going to have author read-alouds. We're going to have performance videos. I'll be doing some magic. I'll be teaching some magic. We're also going to have a lot of great do-it-together activities. You can find it all at readinginthenewyear.com. Go there now. The page is open now just to give you a taste and in order for you to bookmark the page so you'll be able to find it when the fair opens up. Readinginthenewyear.com. Be there. It's going to be a blast. Joining us right now from Ocala in the beautiful Sunshine State of Florida. He is the author of a great new inspirational book called Albert the Albatross. Altitude equals attitude. Please welcome to the show, Oscar Redden IV. Oscar, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Jed, for having me on the show. I'm pumped up. I hope all the viewers are listening. I'm going to be a little loud today, but that's only because I'm passionate about what I do.
That is wonderful. Well, we love passionate people here on the podcast, and we love authors who are looking to inspire kids. So why don't we begin by having you tell us who Albert the Albatross is?
Well, Albert the Albatross is an epic story about a large bird that soars around the world and observes it in a different way. Albert meets different friends who he interacts with. We get to see what they do and what Albert thinks about it. And during the journey, Albert teaches us all about integrity, never giving up when life is difficult, and keeping a positive attitude. And we get to see the beauty of one of the most beautiful birds in flight and how attitude actually equals altitude. And it's by our attitude, which is our choice, that determines our future. And that's what I'm here to nail home to my little ones and the adults, that you have a choice in this matter. And Albert's going to talk to us today about that and why we should be thoughtful about our actions, which are driven by our thoughts and emotions. So when you can control your emotions and your thoughts, you got half of the job done.
Yeah. You're absolutely right in sharing with us that the message of Albert about being positive and having that positive attitude, that's a message that's really important for us to share with our little ones, but it's also really important to remind adults to live that positive attitude, because the best way to teach our kids to be positive is to model that behavior.
Correct. My mother and my father modeled the behavior of a can-do attitude. Now, did they have everything? No, they didn't. And I'm sure when I was asleep in my room because I remember when I was 7 and I wanted to have a piñata for my birthday. It was a big thing. I wanted a moonwalker, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they couldn't afford it. But they never let the external forces impact their internal, because success is an inside job. It all starts from within, because we all have things that challenges and makes us say, what if? And what if I go to school and nobody likes me? What if, I try for the basketball team and I'm too short? Well, what if I'm not a good writer and there's a million writers out here and no one's going to like my book? But I'm here to tell you one thing, that what if works in both ways. What does that mean? It means that what if works in a positive aspect and a negative. What if you get picked for the basketball team? What if you just stand up in front of people and tell them how you feel? So you have to motivate yourself, and it starts off with the parents showing the kids and modeling what acceptable behavior is, because there's behavior that adds value, and then there's behavior that doesn't. And most of the time, as human beings, we don't have to be told that we've done something wrong, because you get that little feeling in your heart, and you're like, "Ooh, I shouldn't have done that." And then you try to justify it with an excuse. And we all know that excuses won't buy you a ticket to success. So it's only through hard work and modeling that behavior, because it's not going to be what you say, it's going to be what you do when you think your kids are not watching. Because we got to give kids, because I'm a fourth grade English and social studies teacher, and my kids are very intelligent. They're beyond their years, and I respect them. And I always let them know that I don't know everything. And I'm upfront and transparent. I think parents, if we do more of that, who knows what'll happen. The next time your kid asks you, hey, mom, dad, I want some advice from you. And, as a parent, you may want to give them that advice, but you may not know. It's okay to say, well, son, daughter, I really don't know, but we're going to figure it out.
That's one of the things. Anytime a young parent comes up to me and says, "Wow, your kids, your adults, they're great kids, and I want my kids to grow up and to be the same kind of adults that your kids are. What should I do?" And that's the piece of advice I share with them right away: is get off that pedestal that you think you need to be on. Let your kids know that you don't know everything. Don't be afraid to admit that there are things that you don't know, that there are things that you failed at, there are experiences where you made mistakes and did the wrong thing. It makes us more human in our kids' eyes.
Yes, because that Superman shield that we may want to have over our chest is now been deployed, and now you're talking on their level instead of over them. Right? Because kids, like I said, we're going back to kids being intelligent again. Kids know when you're talking over them versus where you're talking to them. And my approach has always been, if a kid is not understanding me or my direction or they need more help, I'm going to meet them where they're at and then point them in the right direction. Always give them a choice. I tell them in school, I say, guess what? I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. I can point you to the door of success, but you have to go through it. We have a ship, and it's a metaphor. So in my class, I use the metaphor of our classroom being a ship. I'm the captain, right? So I have to pay attention. I have to watch out for any bad weather. I have to watch out for icebergs, because we know what happened. There's a movie out there about an iceberg that hit a ship and it went down. But my kid's job is to row the boat. How do you row the boat? You got to put in work. You have to focus on the task that is at hand, and there are no excuses. You're going to put all your attention on what you're doing to learn it. And that is what I do. And I tell them, I say, everyone has a position in life. Everyone is going to get a chance at the driver's seat. You're just in a different position right now. But as long as you follow these rules, and as long as you follow these procedures, and you follow our protocols, sky's the limit for you.
You're sharing with us values that I grew up with, but you're also sharing values that a lot of people are kind of pushing back against. And you just said there are no excuses, but it seems like a lot of folks in our society are saying, well, there are excuses, and and we absolutely know that we need to work to make our society more just, more equitable for folks, give people more opportunities. But while we're saying that, I think we also have to let kids know that a lot of their destiny is in their own hands.
It is. It is. You are pretty much the pilot. Mm-hmm. We're still talking about flight, and you have the ability to ascend or descend based on your behavior. If you think it's cool to go to school and bully somebody, you have not arrived, ma'am, sir. Because sometimes when I talk to my kids, I say ma'am and sir, so that they realize that, I'm going to be I'm respectful too. And you have not arrived. You don't understand that it's better to give, to be kind, than to be rude. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, some of life's best medicine comes from a stranger's kindness. I was driving today, going to work, and I had to get some gas. I don't typically do that. And I walked inside to the gas station. Right before I got into the gas station, someone held the door open for me. But I'm so used to holding the door open for everyone else. When someone did it to me, it was just an impactful thing because it was someone being considerate. Mm-hmm. They weren't thinking about themselves. They were thinking about someone else. And that's how we have to get into that mentality of looking out for others, helping and listening to others, and respecting others for their values. Our differences bring us together. They don't separate us. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever had one of my favorite dishes is jambalaya. I've been in New Orleans twice, and if you know anything about that dish, mm-hmm. there's all type of spices in it, and that's what makes the dish. Mm-hmm. That's what makes the dish. And I'm saying that to say this, that your differences can actually bring you closer to people. You just have to have the unwavering courage to accept, to realize that you're different and be okay with that. Mm-hmm. You have to be okay with it.
That's real. First off, big up for, jambalaya. I love it. I make it. It ain't nothing like I get in the restaurants. I like my jambalaya. My daughter likes my jambalaya. I don't think many other people would recognize it as real jambalaya. I do love it at the restaurants. And one of the things about jambalaya, it is different anywhere you go. It's, it's different. And I love how you're celebrating the fact that it is our differences when we come together and we blend those differences together. That's when real magic happens.
Exactly, because I'm a sports fanatic. My Lakers won last night. I feel good. But it's those things like sports. That's why sports is so powerful, because you have people from different ethnic groups, from different backgrounds, different beliefs, coming together and fighting for one cause. They have goals and objectives and things that help them look forward to the future. And another beauty about sports is that everyone can get involved. Everyone can play a position. Not everyone has to be the star, and I love sports because of that. And I think that as that starts to come back, it's going to, help kids learn how to socialize with people that are different than them, but are the same as humans. They're all human beings. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
One of the things I want to talk to you about is, I love this teaching kids a positive attitude. Right now we're living in a time in history unlike any other time in history. It's most of the country, all schools closed down back in March. Some schools are opening up again. It sounds like your kids are in class with you. There are other systems that are all remote and others that are going these hybrid things. Do you find it is more difficult, more challenging now to help kids keep that positive attitude?
It all starts at the house.
Okay.
So every kid's uniquely different. That's how I approach it. And now some kids have adjusted well, and they've come back and they're like open. They're open and they're ready to receive the information. And some kids, they think about the things that aren't going to add value, like, the current climate we're in because they're hearing it at home, where now I have to come back in and help them and redirect them and say, hey, we're not going to worry about things that we can't control. That's the number one way to get stressed out. Worrying about things you can't control. Okay, what are we going to do about it? Can't do nothing about it. So with kids that are stressed, because I do feel like this is the greatest generation that we've had, but also it's a generation that's went through a lot. I mean, too much. Some of these kids, they're having to take on more things than I've had to take on as a young man. But we have more resources, right? We have shows like this, the podcast, right? We have shows like this. We have, guidance counselors and people that are on deck ready to help us. So just to answer the question, I think that the kids have a great opportunity to turn this thing around, and we can't worry about what happened yesterday. All we can worry about is our time in school and making the most of it. Yeah. And that's what I try to do. I try to create this bubble of positivity. When the kids come in the morning, they're hearing some piano music. We talk. We just don't do work and say, oh, you got to do. We talk. We get to know each other, and we create a unbreakable bond. So when I need them, like I said, to row and put in work and do the things I need them to do, they're willing to do it because they know Mr. Redden is transparent, he's honest, and he's not afraid to do the small job. He just needs me to play my position so we all can win. And I think that's what we need to go back to. We all are a part of groups, and that's my group. And I care about them, and I just want to see them win. So I think just by my actions alone, not what I'm saying, my actions alone communicates more than what I actually say. And that's what we got to get back to. We got to walk the walk, not talk it. You have to walk the walk because kids, when I say kids, all the way from babies to adults, they watch you. You're on the recorder.
Absolutely.
Hey, Mom, Dad, I remember when you did this. What? What did I do? You don't even know. But they're watching you because now you're programming them to download that information into their generation. And it keeps going on and on. But somebody has to change it. Someone has to break that negativity bond. And we have to let kids understand that the earlier you can realize that your emotions can be controlled, the better off you're going to be. Because a man or a woman that can't control their emotions are going to be controlled by someone else. So I got to be in control of my emotions. I can't let folks dominate my emotions or negative triggers dominate my emotions and cause me to do something without thinking.
Yeah, I love that. That's so important. That's one of the things in the different podcasts that I've produced over the years. In one of them, we talked to leaders of business, and every one of those titans of industry said to me, we can teach the skills that a person needs to do this job. They don't need to come in knowing how to do this job necessarily. But we can't teach them how to get along with others. We can't teach them to control their emotions. That's something that they need to have coming in. If they don't have that coming in, if they don't know how to work as a team, then they really can't help us. They can't succeed here. So I think that the lessons that you're sharing in Albert the Albatross and the lessons that you're giving your kids and the lessons that we can teach our kids through sharing and talking about Albert the Albatross are really valuable lessons that will serve kids well throughout their lives.
Yes. So we have to just make it simple. A positive attitude beats a negative attitude any day of the week. Any day of the week. Now, I'm not telling you that everything you go through is positive. It's just the way you approach it. Some people like to use the analogy of the glass half empty, the glass half full. So I look at life as the glass half full. Give you another example because I love to put examples in here. So today I'm at the store and I'm waiting to check out. All right. Now I know that there's one person in front of me because I saw that person and I know. So then another person comes around and the cashier starts to handle them, take care of them. And I'm like, okay, well maybe I just miscounted. But then there's a third person that this cashier starts taking care of. So in my mind, I'm like, man, I wonder why he's ignoring me. So my first thought is to just leave and then go somewhere else because I'm on a time crunch. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna just stay there. You know what? I'm gonna not allow my emotions at this point of being a little frustrated overwhelming. So he came back and one of the nicest people that I've met. And I could have missed out on an opportunity just because I let one thought come into my mind. So this isn't, being positive is not, taking something and expecting it to protect you. Mm-hmm. Being positive is about, constantly working at it every day. You have to work at it. You have to build those muscles up so that when, your mind starts racing and you have all these thoughts of what if, why you can't do it, you're going to remember. You're going to say, well, I'm in control. I'm in the driver's seat and no one's going to make me feel any other way. Mm-hmm. You can't do anything to me that I don't allow.
It's interesting that you use the analogy of being in the driver's seat. One of the things I wanted to ask you is you've had a very interesting life journey. You know, you're a fourth grade teacher right now. You're a children's author, but before that, you worked for one of the largest corporations in the universe and, you know, setting those truck drivers off, bringing all the things that we need all around the world, working for Walmart. How did that transition happen?
Well, I realized that I had an opportunity. Sometimes we get tired, and I don't mean like, physically tired. You get mentally tired and you say, am I doing enough? Is this opportunity right now where I want to end up? And, you know, soon, like right at the end of 2018, I stood up from my computer and I started writing down my goals on my static board. What do you want to do? And I started thinking about just writing a book, something that I could put all my experiences into, something that wouldn't be complicated, but that could speak volumes through pictures, because we know pictures are worth 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. And also, a book that would promote kindness, respect, well manners, and positivity in children. And also encourage children to put away their misbehaviors in exchange for a positive attitude, you know. And my goal was to create a series of children's books aimed at encouraging positive, life-enhancing conversations between parents and children through fictional characters to help parents out, to help them have the conversation. Because life, as you start to live, you know, it's about timing too. Mm-hmm. When you get to know your children really good, you know that you got to have good timing with them. You know, not everything needs to be said at one time. You have to be smart about how you approach things. So I wanted to create a book that will allow parents to have these meaningful conversations about attitude, because if you just tell a kid, hey, you don't have a good attitude, they may say, huh, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And I'll say, see that right there? You see how your face just kind of frowned up at me? Yep, you got to change your attitude. So, you know, but I just simply say this, that a positive attitude will determine your future. Mm-hmm. It could determine the people that you attract in your life and the people that you repel out of your life. That's why, again, I go back to sports, because there's millions of people across the world that are enamored by these athletes. They've never met them, but they like them because of who they may have never had a conversation with them, but they watch them. Mm-hmm. So they observe them. Mm-hmm. So observation is key. Yeah. And as parents, we don't have to be superstars. We don't have to play basketball. We don't have to be an athlete, but we can be a superhero to our kids. We can be superheroes to the people we teach in the people that we surround ourselves around, do you know that the company you keep is what you reap? The company you keep is what you reap. The people that you surround yourself around are your reference group, and these people actually reflect your unconscious bias about the world. If you surround yourself around people that are problem solvers, not problem seekers, most likely that's going to rub off on you. But if you're surrounding yourself around somebody that's always got a defeated attitude, always telling you about why they can't do this, they got an excuse, life's hard. Yes, life's hard, but you're living and you have an opportunity to do something about it, because yesterday is done. Today is your opportunity to prepare for tomorrow. What do you want to do? Life's about choices.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I want to do right now is give folks a chance to learn more about Oscar Redden IV and also more about Albert the Albatross. Are there places online where people can connect with you?
Oh, of course. You can connect with me through Facebook at Albert the Albatross. You can also connect with me at Instagram, Albert _the _Albatross, and then Twitter, which is just Albert the Albatross.
Awesome. Well, we've had a great time talking about some being positive, and also talking about some great old school values, and also talking about a beautiful new book called Albert the Albatross, Attitude Equals Altitude. And we've been speaking with the author, Oscar Redden IV. Oscar, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Jed. And I wish your podcast much success. This has just been an awesome opportunity, and I look forward to being back on again.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Diana Lee Santa Maria. She'll be here to celebrate D. Lee's Shapely Imagination, a great bilingual book. I had the pleasure of being part of Diana's launch party. It was a whole lot of fun, and you're really going to love this book. You're really also going to love reading in the new year. You don't want to miss it. Go to readingintheNewYear.com, bookmark the page. You will be all set when the fair opens up on December 25th, Christmas Day. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, I want to thank our guest, author Redden IV. Be sure to check out Albert the Albatross, Attitude Equals Altitude. I also want to thank my team, Alejandro Doherty, Fatima Khan. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. I want to thank Augie the doggy for having my back here in the studio. But most of all, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.